Today's topic is support, and the focus is on parents supporting their children. And guess what? Most parents have it all wrong. If that shocks you, then stay tuned because Naveen Jain, serial entrepreneur and father of 3 successful entrepreneurs as well, is going to answer some questions from parents. And the answers aren't exactly what you might think. So listen, learn, and take action.
I'm Jonah, and I'm a parent of Layla and
Yeah.
Marquez. And my question is, in relations to Marquez, because he's taken interest in truly being an entrepreneur, and it was a process for me to explain what it could mean for him. And he had an opportunity to do sort of an internship to work on, certain coding programs. And I kind of stepped back, and the point of my context here is because I want him to be a kid. I don't want him to be too serious in his interests right now. Is that a parenting thing, or is there a system that I can, or some kind of structure I can follow, so I'm not
Yes.
depriving him of that?
Yeah. So I think, first of all, a great question here. And, we struggle through the same thing with our children when they were young. They all wanted to become an entrepreneur. And our rule was very simple. Until you finish your college, you don't start anything for profit. That means you want to do everything you do, you want to learn and not focus on making money. Because the minute you start focus on making money, then your whole life changes from then on. And you still need to be a kid and focus on learning as much as you can. So it's okay when they are in school or college to do things purely from learning perspective. That means purely from just giving, creating stuff that does not focus on making money. That means it focuses on helping people. And so to me, all of our children, when they turn 10, they all actually, despite all the things I talk about nonprofit, I made sure they all started a nonprofit. That means idea was for them to go out, focus on other people, not themselves. And that was part of learning thing, was to start for them to think about there is a life beyond them. Because a lot of the times when you become an entrepreneur, life becomes about you. And I wanted them to learn the more they help other people, the more successful they become. So I think you're doing absolutely the right thing. The two advice that I would say that we did differently to our children was exposing them to as many different things as we possibly could, and make sure that they do not focus on anything while they are still in college. Until they graduate from college, they cannot focus on doing anything that is making money or becoming profitable or earning revenue. It has to be all about helping people. Second thing was redefining the success is not about how much money you will make. It will be about how many lives you are able to improve. And to some extent, let them know what makes you proud of them. Because despite what children may think, they fundamentally want to make you proud. And you need to let them know what makes you proud. If you think making money is going to make you proud, they're going to dedicate their life to making money. If you let them know that what makes you proud is going out and helping people, that is what they're going to do. And they can create a massive businesses out of it. In fact, every business that I have created has helped millions of people live better, right? Whether it is a healthcare, I'm focusing on making sure people don't get cancers, making sure people don't get chronic diseases. But it is a massive business, right? So every business they do, our children, our daughter is working on a women's health company. Our sons are working on all types of affordable housing, affordable renting, all the things that help people live better, but they're creating amazing businesses out of it at the same time. So the idea is doing good and doing well. And the reason they do that is the more people you help, the bigger the business gets, right? So that means always thinking about, if you can help 1 billion people live a better life, you can create a $500 billion company, right? So focus on how many people can you make their lives better. And the more people's lives you can make better, the bigger business you can create out of it, because people will pay you to make their lives better.
With Layla being that she's 9, however, she does act like she's 16 in most days. How can I support her endeavors, wanting to be on YouTube. And I know her endeavors are to edit and create videos.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
there was a conversation I had with her about
mhm.
storytelling.
Yeah.
I'd love to know your take on that as far as
Mhm.
going on YouTube and creating content and pushing for, not pushing, what's the right word? Encouraging,
Mhm.
something amazing to come out of that.
Yeah. So first of all, I think she's too young to have any passion at this point. I mean, just way too young to have any passion of any kind. This is the time for being exposed to many different things she may not know anything about. And the best advice I can give you is the same advice I gave my 16-year-old daughter when she came to me and said, Dad, I know you love science and technology. I want nothing to do with it. I have found my true passion, and that's what I want to pursue. And I told her that you're too young to have a passion. And I want you to learn about other things that you don't know anything about. So if you don't know anything about it, how can you tell me you don't like them? Right. So that changed her life. So the fact I exposed her, despite she saying she has no interest in it, I exposed her to learning about the human brain, learning about the genetics. I want her to learn about everything. And guess what happened? She ended up going to Stanford, became a Stanford STEM fellow, Stanford Mayfield fellow. She became the first company to use AI to remove gender bias in hiring, second company to help women's health. So she wanted to help women, but she now realized that having all the knowledge of science and technology allows her to do things that she wanted to do. Right. So to me, I don't think you should be encouraging her to do what she's doing. You should be encouraging her to learn. That means go spend on YouTube 1 hour on different subjects. Go learn about neuroscience. Go learn about nanotechnology. Go learn about artificial intelligence. So learn about as many different things as you can. And then go back and show people and say, hey, this is what I learned, and I can explain it in a way better than anyone has done because I have been able to grasp what that is, right? So if she can go there and say, oh, this is a neuroscience for kids. So I spent 2 hours learning, and here's a 3-minute snippet of a video that explains what neuroscience is all about for kids, right? And then she can go learn about different subjects and find a good snippet that can explain that subject, because that allows her to capture her ideas in a concise manner. So she gets to do what she likes to do, which is to do video editing and still be a person who says, I can take a very complex subject, understand it enough to be able to actually describe it to someone else in a way that makes sense. So use her talent, but use the talent while she's being exposed to all the different subjects that she would not be.
Yeah, that's the one thing too that I found in, because I'm just right now writing an article about him and his kids, and it's called Raising Entrepreneurs. And just the one key thing that he always said, oh, you really love this? Okay, but now let's take a look at this, and ensuring that what they really loved was what they really did love. And like he said, by showing his daughter something different, it completely changed, and just exposing her to that completely changed what she thought she really loved. Expose them just to everything possible. So when they're going to make that choice of what college do they want to go to, what, job do they want to have, what they want to be when they grow up, what problem do they want to solve, they have as much information in their head to know exactly, so that 4 years don't go by and then they're not saying, oh, well, I really would really like to do this now that I know what it is. And then they have to, start again, so I
And
love
I
that.
think you as a parent also have to show the same curiosity. That means, even when the kids were young, we will go watch the TED Talks with them, right? I mean, it was just one of the things we say, instead of watching a comedy for 30 minutes, we're going to watch 2 TED Talks, and we just pick up 2 random TED Talks on totally different subjects. And that just allowed them to say, wow, look at someone who can explain the butterfly in a way that has never been explained, right? And here is the person who's talking about an art that I never thought that could be so sexy.
It's interesting to see boys, go into sports. And so my sons, they've lived like student athletes. And I noticed it kind of narrowed down that idea of exposure, like you just mentioned. How do I, as a parent, how do I bring about putting that balance in their lives, without sounding like I'm nagging them.
Yeah. So, us, we always said sports is an exposure to thing, and you have to be balanced in every exposure. That means you can't just go do one thing. None of our kids we knew are going to be the professional athletes, but we wanted them to do sports, but that was a hobby. And to me, all these things are hobbies. But in terms of now you got the sports exposure, now go get some science exposure, go get some art, go get some psychology, go look at the philosophy, go look at something else. You got to be constantly learning, because to us it was always about curiosity. We will have what if this thing was possible? How would you go make something possible? So we'll always have these discussions around subjects that made them think that, what if you could live on Pluto? What would that look like? What needs to happen to be able to for someone to live on a Pluto? Well, that will never happen. Well, what if it could happen? What would the life look like, right? So you start giving them imagination of what is possible. Our bedtime stories were never about my reading a book. It was about creating stories that says, here are the 3 words that are completely unrelated. Now, tell me a story that connects these 3 words together. So here is a monkey, here is an ocean, here is a tree. Tell me a story that connects them 3. And now they have to think about how to put the things together that have never been connected. So it allows their brains to start thinking about that everything in life is somehow interconnected. It's a matter of how you imagine.
I'm coming to learn as a parent, when you try to push the children to do something that they don't, I try to give them that space and let them be. Because I don't know, from my background, we were pushed to do things and no matter what, was the critical parenting. So I'm trying to do the opposite of it and just accepting because I feel guilty.
Yeah. And honestly, there is a part of respecting them and it's part encouraging them. And to some extent, when they are young, you have to cajole them. Sometimes you have to, let them know there is a carrot and a stick here. If you do this, you also get to do this. So it's not you are saying that I'm forcing you to do that, and say, look, I want you to do this. And if you do this, guess what? When the next question you ask me, can I go out and hang out with my friends? My answer would be yes, right? But if you're not willing to do this, then why would you expect me to be saying yes to the things you want me to do, right? So there has to be a mutual respect that if I respect you, you have to also respect my wishes, just like I respect your wishes.
I've started doing that with the shores and video games for buying a Roblox. So it's you do your shores, then you will get this. If you don't, you're not gonna get this.
Yeah, but the thing is still, honestly, that is still about work for money or work for something.
Yeah, I think
trying
that's
to do
something
to
wrong about that.
Yeah, curiosity is different. You want them to learn. So you say it's not about chores for this. It is about, if you were to watch these 2 TED Talks and can give me a 2-minute pitch on each one of them, what they were about, you get to go buy this blog, right? So it is about getting them to know that you want them to learn, and learning is what you care about, because you don't want to be that person that says, hey, I have to do some work that I don't want to do and it's not good for me, and that's how I earn a living, right? So you don't want to create that philosophy of to earn something you have to do things you don't enjoy.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
once they enjoy learning, it changes their life.
You mentioned varying the exposure that our children have and the things that they're exposed to. You also mentioned that as a parent, we can have some influence by letting them know that there are other facets to any one thing that they may be interested in. And it doesn't have to be the be all or the end all and destination. You also mentioned the idea that it's important not to make profit the motive in learning, but to have curiosity be the driver for learning. And how much of that has to be exhibited by the parent in parenting the child?
And I tell you that it's a key, because it's not about what you say, it's about what they see you do. So
Exactly.
if you tell them money doesn't matter, but all your life they hear you talk about how to make more money, it doesn't matter what you say. If you're chasing money, they're going to chase money. If you are simply doing things because you just get excited about a particular idea, then they're going to do exactly the same type of thing, right? And a large extent, parenting is very counterintuitive. What we think kids want and kids need is very different from what they think they need, right? So in a sense that if you are successful and you say, I want to retire now, and you are 30 years old and I want to spend time with our children because they are young. Now imagine what children see are very different, that dad made money and now he sits at home watching me go to school, watching me come back from school, telling me to work hard while he's sitting at home, right? Then guess what? They want to grow up and say, I want to be just like my mom and dad, sit at home and not do anything, because that's what I saw my mom and dad do. But if they say mom and dad made money, but mom and dad don't care, they start the second company, the third company, and they're pursuing their passion for what they love. They're doing things that are so audacious that people think are crazy ideas. They're going out and doing things that everyone believes cannot be done. Guess what? They grow up believing there's nothing that can't be done, because they've seen their mom do that. They've seen their dad do that, right? And those are the crazy things that once you do that, you would see the children develop that confidence of, I can do it. I see my dad do that, right? And that is really, in our family, that's what happened. My first company was wildly successful. They know they don't have to work for a living for many generations. But guess what? They all work 7 days a week, 18-hour days, because they realize that money is not be all and all. My dad started the second company, the third company. Then he said, let's go to the moon. And I said, Dad, you can't do that. And Dad showed it can be done. And he said, let's go to change the healthcare. Dad, are you crazy? The healthcare cannot be changed. And you show them how it can be done. And they say, oh my God, okay, great. I'm going to go now do this, this, and that. And that
Great.
really is about you as much as becoming their role model, because parents are the biggest role model that the children have.
Follows and Likes Is This All That I'm Worth is a guide to understanding what success really is, and it reveals the inspirational stories of amazing people who created success in their lives despite the challenges they faced at a young age. By sharing important lessons on how to create success and the inspirational stories of a multicultural group of people, youth can find comfort and hope that no matter what their ethnicity is or what obstacles they may encounter, they too will rise and meet the challenges of life with great success.